So how much do you need for a down payment? So whenever I start with this exercise, it can be a higher amount, but at least starting to get to know these numbers. So I just worked with a couple recently, a wonderful same-sex couple who came to me, both playwrights, and the first thing they said is like, we just want to own a home. We feel like it's so important to us, to our family, our values. There's no way we could ever afford it. I mean, that was the first thing they said. And I was like, well, let's go through the numbers. Where do you live? What part of town do you live in? How much are the average prices of home? So that was the first thing. They didn't know what homes cost in their neighborhood because they had been renting for so long. So I said, your first piece of homework is go to open houses for the next month. Don't call an agent, don't call a real estate agent, but just go to open houses. I know when my husband and I were looking to buy something, we went to 60 different open houses because we thought, do we want pre-war? Do we want modern? Do we want a condo? Do we want a co-op? Do we want a house? Do we want a fireplace? Like, you don't know what you want. And you're also thinking, wow, I think I can afford this, or what does my money really buy? And so you can look on some great websites like Zillow and StreetEasy and Trulia. These are wonderful real estate websites. But on the whole, you got to go look at something. Real estate is all about the physicality of it. So start looking, go to open houses. On the whole, you need 20 to 25% for a down payment. Sure, you can do it for less, but I'm not a fan of that. If you really are trying to buy something and you can get it for less than that amount, I think you can't really afford it. And maybe you should still focus on saving for the down payment, because maybe you're buying it for, more investment or speculative purpose. And so that's not really what this discussion is, and that's not necessarily something that it's not that I don't support it, but it's just not my philosophy. If we're talking about like buying something as a straight investment, that's a separate discussion. So I think this is really like wanting to own your own home. So if a home costs $300,000, you need $60,000 to $75,000 saved. So that's why I start to get to know how much does the home cost, and then how can I save $60,000 to $75,000. And if you don't have a lot saved, this can be a really low number. This can be a really high number, but then the idea is that, okay, well, maybe next year I'll have $10,000, the year after that I'll have $15,000, and in 5 years I can have my down payment saved. Or a lot of people were calling in their numbers today that had this money. Or you do get a big payout. So the point is putting it out there. So let's talk a little bit about what is your mortgage payment. And I got this from bankrate.com, so you can figure out your own mortgage calculator. So if you have a $300,000 home value, you've put down a mortgage of $225,000. So these rates, I don't know if they've gone up or down, but this was probably 2 weeks ago when I did this. A 30-year fixed rate loan of 4.38%. I've owned homes for 17 years now, 16 years. That's a really good rate. My first mortgage was 7%, no, like 7.75%. So that's a great rate. So a monthly payment is $1,124. And then I added monthly taxes. I estimated $400 a month. Does $1,124 seem like a manageable number to pay for a mortgage? Yeah. So the hard part here is coming up with a down payment, because then the other thing that you get, I didn't put this here, is that, which I didn't put here, but that $1,124, a big portion of that is interest, and right now you can deduct that. So that's a tax deduction for you, whether you're freelance, whether you're corporate, whether you don't work, that's a tax deduction. Doesn't matter who you are, you can deduct mortgage interest.